So the next topic now is how to divide that VPC into smaller network called subnets. And if I go back to our drawing, our presentation, this is the area that, let me go back one step. Sorry, there is a lot of animation there. Okay, here, this is what we want to do now. This public subnet and private subnet. So what we've done so far is that we've created our VPC. Though I call it production VPC here, but we actually name it warm-up VPC. So the next option now is to create this subnet. So we need two subnets. One is going to be public subnet and the other is going to be private subnet. So let's go there. So to create a subnet, on your left-hand side, click on subnet. Don't bother about the subnet app that you are seeing here. When you open your AWS account, it comes with a VPC and some subnets. And those ones, if you scroll here, you're going to be seeing them as defaults. So you see default subnet, you will see yes, 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 yes. That means those ones that came with your VPC. But we don't really need to worry about this. We need to create our own VPC. To create your own VPC, click on create. We need to create our subnet. To create your own subnet, click on create subnet. The first thing you want to do is you need to select inside which VPC do you want to create the subnet. So I'm creating my VPC inside, I'm creating my subnet inside Walmart VPC. So you can see immediately I select it, it gives me the IPv4 CIDR that I picked. So any of the subnet that you want to create must be within this range. Must be within this range. And the best option to make sure that you are within that range is by using something like this. You can create a subnet that use 10.1.0.0/24. Then I want to create another subnet. You can change this to 2.0.0/24. You want to create another one, just be changing this to, just be changing the second digit to 24 for now. Then the last digit you can use is around 254. But if I were you, I will stop at 200. That means if you are creating multiple VPC, multiple subnets. So the first thing we want to do, the second thing is to give our subnet a name. So I'm going to call this, remember, we are following a naming convention, Walmart public subnet. Then you also have to select the availability zone where that subnet will be located, inside which of the availability zone. So I'm going to pick availability zone 1A, and you can see it's asking me what is the IPv4 subnet CIDR block. It's showing me the IPv4 VPC CIDR block. So for me to know that, okay, I have to pick a range, you can see. So I'm going to say 10.1.0.0/24. So that means I'm just picking 256 IP address out of the IP address within this CIDR block. The total IP address in that CIDR block is almost 64,000 plus. I believe 65,534 or 35 or something like that, but it's the 65,000 plus. Excuse me. So out of that 65,000 plus, I'm only choosing 256 for these Walmart public subnets. You want to use small IP range so that you can do what we call you want to reduce blast radius. Should in case that subnet is compromised, it's not going to affect a lot of people or a lot of resources. All right. So this is the public subnet, and that is all you need to do. Just click on create. You say this one is 0. So it has to be 0. Sorry, what I gave you earlier is wrong. So it's the third one that I need to change, not the second one. So from what I wrote earlier, let me quickly write that. You can do something like 10.0.1.0/24 or 10.0.1.2.0/24 or 10.0.3.0/24 and so on. So it's not the second one, it's the third one that you need to change. And why you need to change that, don't worry about that for now. It's more a advanced topic, which we might discuss later in the solution architect. It's just like the first two digits, that is 10.0 here is the network. And you can't change the network. So that's why you only change the subnet. All right. So I'm going to save this, then I'm going to quickly create the second one. So we have our public, then I'm going to create our private, but don't forget to select the same VPC and warm out private subnet. And I might put the same in the same subnet, and I put another subnet. I mean, now I might put it in another availability zone, but I purposely leave it in the same availability zone because this is going to be our private subnet. So the second subnet is 10.0.2.0/24. Make sure that the two subnets are not overlapped, otherwise it will even give you error. So I'm going to save this too. So this is where we are now. Before we go to where we are, if we refresh this, you can see we have our, let me search by Walmart. So you can see we have our public and private. So this is what we have currently. We have our subnet, VPC, and we have our two subnets. So the next thing that I want to create now is our internet gateway. Before I create our internet gateway, this subnet, by default, it is private, and it is using the route table that comes with the VPC. And you can see, if you open any one of them and click on route table, you will see that it's using this route table. And how do you know if this route table comes with VPC or not? If you go to the VPC itself and open it, you will see here it's showing route table, and this is the route table, and it's showing you that currently this VPC has two subnets associated to it, and both of them are using the VPC, the route table that comes with the VPC, because we have not created any route table. All right, but look at it. These are the resources map. We have a VPC that has two subnets that is within the VPC, and we have a route table that routes network traffic to the resources. So we're going to create our route table later, but for now, let's just leave it. Let's the subnet continue to be using the main route table or the default route table. So this subnet is private because if you open the route table, let's click on, go to route table, and you can locate the route table. Let me get the route table number so that we are sure that we are using the route table, the right route table. You can see it ends with F87. So if I go to the route table, this is the route table here. So I can rename it and call it Walmart default route table so that I know later that this is the route table for Walmart default. So if you look at this route table under main, you will see that it's saying yes, that this is the main route table that comes with the VPC. It's not the one that you create. If it is the one that you create under main, it's going to be no. But anyone that say yes, that means they comes with the VPC, and it is the default for that VPC. So let's leave this now. Let's go and create our internet gateway.